Alright, gang, welcome back to our one-tile challenge here on Calmlands. It is now April, and a lot of you in the comments correctly mentioned something that I have yet to try as far as the coarse salt goes. You kept saying, what about the trailer? And I thought I had tried this, but maybe I missed the location. I guess I did, because there it is. It just drops out of the middle of the air, I guess. But anyway, we've got the coarse salt in here now. Now, it does say that we should be able to sell this. Well, if I can go down and find it. I'm pretty sure we can sell it at our little shop. Yes, the little market. So we should be able to sell it here, as long as everything goes correctly, I guess. So thank you for those of you who mentioned that. Now, we'll be able to make a little bit of money, I guess, this way, without actually having to just do it on an auto sell. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. I've got the trailer selected. Why are we unable to unload here? Uh-oh. Maybe I shouldn't have unloaded it into the trailer. I mean, that's exactly where it's supposed to be at. Maybe I'm supposed to hit the little button, maybe? I'm afraid to just do unload here. I'm afraid to just dump it on the ground and it won't go anywhere. It's not selling it. Okay, this is not good. I don't know what I'm going to do with this now. Why does it say that we can sell it there at the little market, but then it won't? That's really weird. Unless there's something on the... Well, let me look here. Unless there's something on the backside that I'm missing? I don't think there would be, though. No. Okay, well, we've got coarse salt in the trailer now, and I don't know what to do with it. Oh, boy. Well, let's see if I can figure out something with that. That's a little weird. I don't know what we're going to do there, but we'll see if we can figure something out. Anyway, today we're going to sell the wool here. It's a decent price for wool. Now, there's not going to be a bunch of wool here, so don't expect a ton of money out of it. 231 liters, to be exact, is not really any wool at all, but a couple $100 will be nice to add to our account here. We also have a pallet of fine salt to sell, which we will go sell that today. We could use the money. It does appear, I think I mentioned this prior, but in case you missed it, I fully confirmed it now. It does look to me that we will get a pallet of the flour of salt, or salt flour, whatever it is, which is worth a good amount of money. It's closer to the range of like a pallet of clothes. And we should get that, I think, before we need to harvest any of our fields, which is really going to help us when we need that harvester, right? That's really going to help. So we'll go sell this. We do know this works. We've taken this over here and sold it before, so... I don't know what's going on with that coarse salt. We got it out of the actual production, but now we can't sell it for some reason. It's just weird. I guess maybe what I'm going to have to do is just kind of dump it in one of the sheds, I guess, for now, until we have a, production, because I said I wanted to do the road salt production at some point, but we're nowhere near the amount we need to be at to be able to buy that. It's like 50 grand. That's going to be a while. Maybe I just dump it in the shed here next to the sheep. I don't really want to dump it in that shed because, I mean, we're not really utilizing this shed for anything. So maybe I dump it in here. Keeps it dry, except it's on the ground, I guess. That's the only negative portion of it, but I don't know what else to do with it. We're going to need this space in here eventually, and we're not going to, like I said, be able to put this into that production before we're harvesting those fields. Actually probably going to be a long time before we're actually able to do any of that, but I don't even know if I can get this trailer in there to dump it in there. Yeah, that is not really the most ideal. It's not really in the shed, is it? Okay. Well, crap. That is not, that's not exactly what I was looking for. Oh boy, I guess I'm gonna have to buy a bucket, I guess. But then I don't... Maybe, hopefully the bucket can push more of it into the shed itself, I guess? I don't know, man. That's... Oof. Anyway, let's move on from that, because that's just going to continue to bother me. So what we're going to do now, we're going to move all this stuff out of the way. I'm going to mow up the remainder of this grass, which there's not much. There's this grass here around what is our makeshift yard for the time being, and then some going up that way. You can see that little strip. We're going to try to take out some of that as well, or mow some of that as well. Because after that, what I'd like to do is actually put down some gravel here and around the yard. Try to clean it up, make it look a little bit better. And I've mentioned a number of times that this may not be the final product of our yard, but for the time being and for the foreseeable future, this is going to be our yard for a while. I'm not really going to plan on moving things around until we have a lot more money in the bank account. If I move things around. Now, we got $10,802 right now, which is great. We are very close to the amount we need for our harvester and for the header, just with this alone. So, whoa. Guess I should have slowed down a little more before I dropped that off. Whoops. So let's grab the mower. We're going to get this area mowed up so we can make a little bit of money off of it from some silage. So I think what I'm going to do actually is come up here to the end and start up here and come back this way. It's a pretty small amount, and I really don't want to kill any of this crop if at all possible, so I'd like to, you know, go at it from the angle where I'm not driving the tractor over the edge of the field, if that makes any sense. Probably going to leave a little bit of space here. Nice. Okay. So this is going to work. So we'll get all this mowed up and then put it into our little silage pole. Now, I forgot. Hopefully I'll put your name in the edit, but I forget your name right now at the time of the recording, so I apologize. But somebody was talking to me in the comments, which I love, about that pole, and evidently his father in the 50s or the 60s, something like that, utilized something very similar to that pole. And what they would do, it was partially for drying, which was what my initial thought was on it and what I told you about. But they also did silage with it. So basically they would stack the grass up on top of it over and over and over again. And obviously the outside layer was kind of waste. But everything underneath that outside layer ended up being, you know, a makeshift silage. Maybe not to the quality and the level that we do nowadays, but it was still silage nonetheless. So pretty cool. And it makes a whole lot of sense to have it in our series here, considering the size of our land, and most of the equipment we're utilizing is very small equipment, right? So you could count it to being kind of older equipment. Some of it's not, I guess, technically older, but I would say most of what we have is of an older fashion, from the 90s or earlier, probably. Now, we're not going to get as much grass here out of this as we have been in the past, but that's okay. Not too concerned about not getting as much money as we did before. I'm just want to make sure that we mow this up and get as much out of this as we can before we end up paving over it or graveling over it or whatever it is we decide to do. Now, I'm not sure when this one's going to come out, and maybe it's slightly a bit of a spoiler, but I guess not really. The Investment Challenge series, my friend Crusty, who's also doing this series, so if you haven't checked his video out of this one, go check it out. Anyway, he told me, I don't know, this is a while ago, that's probably a month ago at this point, or around that, to not download the latest update for the Riverview map, which is our investment series. And Giants made an update, and with that update, they've moved. Like, before you load in the game, they give you the option to download the latest updates for things. And me not, realizing that update was made by Giants, I just hit A like I normally do to load up the map, and it started downloading the update. And the update really ruins the map. I don't know what they were thinking. It's like they didn't test it. It's a mess. I'm not really going to say anything else besides that. Like, you're just going to have to load or watch it whenever it comes out. It'll be pretty obvious when it comes out because of the title and the thumbnail and everything, but I'm willing to continue that series if you want me to, but I'm considering either putting it on pause or maybe just canceling it altogether. And because if it's been out for a month like this, clearly they have no want to fix it. And it's not just about the changes they made to the map. The map is just, it's a mess. There's, like I said, I wasn't gonna spoil it, but there's just things that happen on the map, and not just changes to, like, portions of the land. There's just things on the map that are unacceptable. They are absolutely unacceptable for a map. Clearly, no testing was done whatsoever, and it was released. So it's a shame. I was really enjoying that series. We made some minor changes to our yard. We moved it to a different area. Minor changes, massive changes to our yard. We moved it to a different area, and we were excited to get through the next stages. We were about halfway through, I would say. But as it currently sits now, I really don't think I want to continue it until those changes are made, if they're ever made. But I'm putting it to you. I want you to make the choice, so you can look at it, you can see what they've done, what changes were made, and you let me know. If you want me to continue it, I'm happy to do so. I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm giving too much away. Just see my reaction to it when you watch that video. So I don't know if this one's going to be out before that one or not. If it is, I guess it's slightly a bit of a spoiler, but I didn't really tell you what was changed and everything. But yeah, you'll see it on that episode, I guess. All right, I think we're going to call that good enough. Good enough. All right. So let's put this away. We'll get the baler out, and we'll bale all this up. Now, I don't think there's much in our fermenter. I didn't even have this one on. Okay, well, deactivate that. So I guess there is grass. We didn't really make any from the last episode because evidently I thought I turned this on, but I guess I didn't. Well, it's going now, so I guess that's fine. At least we didn't absolutely need the money right now. Speaking of that, I know a couple people have mentioned that they think utilizing, like the windmill generators kind of defeats the purpose because I'm trying to offset the loan prices and everything. And I get that. I do. I get it. On paper, I thought it was a great idea, but I also get what you're getting at. But for now, I didn't say that you weren't allowed to do that, and a lot of people are doing that, so I'm not going to try to change the rules or anything like that now. But whenever we do the next one, perhaps we do something where those are, banned until you get to a certain place, or you have the loan paid off, or whatever. We'll see, right? We'll make shifts whenever we get to the next version of this, because there will be another version of this. Speaking of that, I was talking to somebody. I don't remember who it was. I was talking to somebody who stated that the individual who made No Man's Land has said that map is not going to come to FS25, which is a shame. I like that map a lot. We never really did a series on that map. I've done a lot of different playthroughs on that map myself, but as far as an actual series on the channel, we never really did anything. And that would be a map that I could see this kind of a series working out really well. So it's a bit of a shame that it won't be coming out, but I'm sure that guy does a really good job, so I'm sure whatever he comes out with for FS25 will be good as well. And hopefully it'll be a situation where, it's like this, where we'll be able to have little plots of land like this where we could turn it into a one-tile challenge of some sort. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to drive these over every single time and drop them off at our pole, our silage pole. So I think I'm just going to drop them out, and then we'll just come around and pick them up later on. Because this one is we're kind of all over the place with the grass here, right? So I think it's just going to be easier for me just to drop them off as they are and then just pick them up later on. Now, as far as what we're going to do for our grass field, so what we're going to plans to do today is we're going to, once we're done doing all of this and we start working on the yard a little bit, we're going to work on making another field. Now, this other field we're going to make, and a lot of you have mentioned this many times in the comments over the last couple of episodes, and you're correct. I was just holding it off for a couple of reasons, but today we're going to start plowing up another field. I'm not sure exactly how big this field's going to be yet, but it's going to be our grass field for the time being. We're going to make a lot more money, or we're going to get well, I guess technically we could make a lot more money, but really we're going to get a lot more yield from this versus just, you know, mowing the grass here that's on the ground, the weeded grass as I always like to call it. So we're going to do that today. I kind of have an idea, but I think I'm going to look at it a little bit closer here before I fully decide how big this field's going to be. We're probably going to try to put some tracks in. Sorry, getting hit the microphone. Put some tracks in to try to kind of start laying out where our roads are going to be. Right? Right now, for the up until this point, we really don't have any roads. We just kind of plopped things down, and it's just grass everywhere. So we're going to work. We're going to work on that today. We're going to try to, you know, put a bit of an outline around the area and what we're at least thinking for right now. Again, later on in the series, as we move along and we start getting probably some bigger productions, things might change, right? We might move things around, but we got to start somewhere. So we're going to put down what our thoughts are for the time being and get that all lined out and get it all sorted out. We don't have enough money to buy the other plot of land, so we can't really make a road up to the main shop, and the shops, I guess I should say, and the animal dealer and everything else. But soon enough, we will have the road go all the way up there as well. Now, for the most part, you probably can figure out where some of them are going to go, right? We've got our little selling point. Obviously, there's going to be a road that goes to that from our yard, right? That's probably going to be the main entrance and exit, honestly. All right, well, we're pretty much done here. We're just kind of cleaning up the last couple little drops here around the main yard area, and we're going to go around and pick up all of these bales. We'll just leave the rest of the grass here in the baler. It's not going to harm anything. Not bad. We got a couple of bales out of it. There was some area there that I did mow into that wasn't yelling at me about it being out of my land. Well, most of the time it wasn't, but clearly it is now. So we won't be able to get to some of that, but that's all right. It'll eventually just go away. It's not a big deal. So we'll go around here and pick up these final bales here and go ahead and drop them off here into the silage pole thing. We're not going to be selling any of the silage today, since I did not turn it on properly like I thought I did. We will not be selling any of it today. I make sure I stay within the boundaries of the rules, right? Not utilizing things that are too outrageously unrealistic, and that certainly is not. It takes about a day, which is about what it takes anyway. Well, a day, I say a day, a month, which is what it is anyway for wrapping them. All right, I think this is the last one. Unless I missed one over here. Let's just double check that. I might have. No, I think that's it. I think that's it. Yep, we got it all. There is some grass over here that I missed, actually, now that I'm seeing that. I still don't think it was going to make up a full bale out of it. But I'll come back out here and pick and clean it up here in a little bit. Let's do a quick autosave here first, just to make sure nothing crashes on me. We're going to start working on kind of figuring out how things are going to be laid out. I mean, we kind of have a ballpark idea now, right? We're going to put another field here, right? And there's obviously going to be a track that kind of runs through here. This is going to be our main yard area, so a lot of this is probably just going to be all graveled up or paved up, whatever. Probably will be a small, tiny track going this way, more than likely. In case we ever, which I doubt we will, but in case we ever decide to go all the way over here to that sell point. And then obviously we're going to have some kind of a track that goes up to here, right? So that'll help us kind of grid out the rest of the land we have here. If that makes sense. There's some spots here too that we can get some stuff, but it's not going to be enough, unfortunately. Although I'd like it to be. It's not going to be enough to get us to another bale. So, let's see. What do we want to put down here? We want to do a little bit of a mixture. I want to try to make it look a little bit realistic. I mean, ideally, I think you're going to have a lot of mud with a tiny bit of gravel, I think. Well, maybe a little bit of both. Maybe a little bit of gravel and a little bit of mud together. So I think something like that makes sense. I like the way this looks. It's kind of a concrete-ish, gravelish texture, broken apart texture. We're going to add a little bit of mud around in here to try to make it look a little bit more realistic. But that's a good, I think, step for the basic area that's going to be, at least for the time being, our yard area. Might expand it out a little bit more here, potentially, and maybe come all the way out here to the end of the sheep area. Let's see, we need some kind of mud here. I think I'm going to do this mud with some rocks in it, just to kind of keep this. And then the rendering thing is a bit of an issue, right? It's just making squares, which is for a little while, and then it kind of fixes itself, right? As you can see. But I think that's going to look good. If we just put this in areas where there's going to be a lot of, traffic. And then I think we just add a little bit more to it, but I think for the most part, this is kind of how I want it to look, right? Basically, it's like a concreted gravel of some sort, and then it's been, you know, utilized for quite a while. It's been here for a while, and you know, so the mud's starting to come through. It could really use, you know, kind of an upgrade to some of that gravel. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe add a little bit of grass through here. Because that would, you know, make sense, right? The gravel and the dirt's coming through, so there's going to be some spotches of grass that are growing here in places. And you would expect some grass to be kind of on the outside edge here of the barn, right? And especially around our little tent here for now. Eventually that is going to go away as well, but... yeah, I think I'm okay with that. I mean, as decent as it can be, given the circumstances. I'll add a little bit of animal mud in here, just to give it a little bit of a darker texture here from little spots. Something like that, probably. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think that looks relatively decent. Good enough for me. Okay, so we've got that done. So now the next step is I'm going to make some actual tracks. And so we talked about this, right? We might expand these out here a little bit. Oh, and by the way, we got a little hail damage, unfortunately, in a couple of our crop fields there. But it could have been worse, so it's better than it could have been. There's a small amount here, relatively large one there, and then a tiny, tiny little bit right there. So not bad, all things considered. All right, so we want to put some tracks in. Now, these tracks are going to really need to be mostly gravel, probably with some grass in it. So something like this, I think. We talked about potentially, like as I was saying, expanding these out a little bit. I don't want to expand them too much, but maybe a little bit would probably make a whole lot of sense here. And then I think just making a track going all the way up to around here for now, I think that's going to be good. Something like that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Is that too close to this one? I think that might be a little bit too close, but we'll roll with it for now. Hope for the best. Yeah, it's a little close, but as long as we leave enough room here for us to be able to turn around and not be running over each of the crops, I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be okay. Now, this is basically just an outline for now. We probably will be able to, you know, expand this a little bit, make it look a little bit bigger, maybe. But for now, I think I'm okay with that. Do I put the track in here yet? I think I'm going to hold off on putting the track in here for now, for the time being. Yeah, let's make a track for here. It's going to give us a better idea, right? If we're pulling it from here down to here, how big really the yard can technically be. Now, the problem with the yard here is that it's pretty flat here, but then it starts kind of sloping up here. If you look close enough, you can kind of see that it's starting to slope a little bit. which means it's not going to be the most perfect place to put down buildings, but I think it'll get the basic job done, right? Okay, that's far enough, I think, for now. Let's get the other one here. Might be too wide. But you get the point, right? We've got a bit of a track now. We kind of know where this is going to be at. We know that we've got this land here, and really, I'm not sure what we're going to do with this land. This is going to be mostly probably productions, but for the time being, we're not going to really have the money to put any productions down, so we might do some kind of a smaller field here, potentially. We'll see. But I think you're getting kind of an idea here that this is probably going to be a big, massive grass field I'm going to make here. At least for now, since we need the grass. That way we have technically 5 fields, and then maybe a 6th smaller field here for a time being. And then eventually this grass field will obviously drop down. My vision, at least for it, is probably to say maybe from the cell point here to, like, you know, this field here. This would be a grass section, and that would mostly just be for the sheep. And then these would all be, you know, crop fields of some sort or whatever it is else we decide to do. At least that's the vision. So you kind of get the point, right? I spent a long time on that, but you get what I was trying to get at, and you get the way it's going to end up being. I might work on the yard a little bit more. I like it, but I think it does need a little bit more work. My friend Northern Farm Sim is really, really good at making the ground look realistic. I think having a computer mouse helps a little bit with that, but he's really good at it. Okay, so we're not going to obviously get this whole thing done today. We are getting up there in time here, but we can at least get started on it. Realistically, we'll probably kind of go around the outside edge here. Get a ballpark idea. I think what I'm going to do down here, we're not going to do it today, but I think what we're going to do down here is probably make a bit of a, I don't know, smaller graveled pad all around the farmer market here, and then maybe extend it out here a little bit. That way, if you don't want to go to the farmer's market, you've got another road that can kind of go around here, and then eventually, once we're able to buy this plot, connect and go all the way up to the main selling point, right? The main area, the shop, everything else, right? So I think giving that understanding, we're going to start here a little bit further up. Something like that, I think. And we're underway. Now, there's some things we got to do that we still haven't got. We need to get a roller, right? We need to get something for the rocks. We haven't even figured out any way to start getting rid of some of these rocks here. We need to do that. Ideally, I'd like to do a production with that as well, right? And turn the rocks into lime. But as far as picking up the rocks, the only thing really that we can do right now is, you know, try to go with the bucket approach. And that's not going to be the easiest or the funnest thing to do. Trying to pick up rocks with a bucket, I did that in FS22, or at least I tried it in FS22. It was miserable. It took an absolute eternity. You really weren't getting a whole lot of rocks up off the ground either. So it wasn't fun. Just trying to do the best I can here to keep the line as straight as possible. I really don't want to spend a ton of time having to come back here and touch it up. If we have to, we have to, but I don't really want to. We're going to have to right there where I just messed up at, but it's all right. For the most part, we're going relatively straight, I think. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe the land isn't as straight as I thought it was, too. Because technically, it looks like, according to the little mini-map there, I could expand this out a little bit more. We want to leave some room here for a track. I said we're going to put a track in, so I think that should be sufficient. So I'm going to go around the edge here. I'll meet you back when we're already connected up over there. All right, we are pretty much around the edge here. So we've got to kind of the outline done here. I think it looks pretty good. This is quite a large field here. This one is going to produce a lot of grass for us, and it's going to make us a lot of silage, too. I think we're just going to go ahead and do it here, gang. I was going to wait and complete the rest of the plowing in the next episode, but I think we're just going to go ahead and do it. It shouldn't take us too long. We won't do the drilling. Well, I guess I need to turn that back on. We won't do the drilling in this episode, or the seeding in this episode, but we will finish the plowing here. So let's go ahead and get this done, so we're prepared for the next episode. Alright, we are done, gang. Field's all set, ready to go. Just needs to be seeded with some grass, which we will do, as I mentioned, in the next episode. I think the tracks we made here are pretty decent. This tractor itself is maybe a little bit too short, or the width is a little bit too short for how wide I made it there, but I think for the most part it's okay. I do need to clean this up a little bit more. I like it, but it needs a little bit more straight lines, I think. I don't think it would be so splotchy, if that makes any sense. Maybe it would. I don't know, but I don't think it would be as splotchy as it currently is. But I'll work on that, and we're going to leave the episode at this point. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I would greatly appreciate it if you smash the like button for me. Subscribe if you're new. All that good stuff helps me out a ton. Thanks so much to my members. Links in the description if you want to become a member. Early access to videos like this one. Discord's down there. Everything you need is down there. And, yeah. It's exciting, man. We are making really good progress here. The salt is a major issue. Perhaps somebody in the comments will be able to help me once again on if I was doing something wrong with the salt or not. But, yeah, I don't know what we're going to have to do with that. I'm going to have to get some kind of a bucket, I guess, for the front loader and move the salt into here or somewhere else. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do. But it's causing issues already with our pallet, so that's good. But, yeah, we're going to leave it at that point, and we'll see you in the next episode.